Welcome to MarcusG.tv. I'm Chef Marcus Giuliano. I'm a chef on a mission. Today's mission is health, restaurants, nutrition, diet, whatever you may want to call it. It's about the food that we eat. And there's been a lot of talk, especially in the restaurant industry, because chain restaurants will now be following a new law, menu labeling law, where you're going to be able to walk into a restaurant and see what you're eating, basically the caloric intake. Some chains have already started this, like Chipotle Grill. I was in a Chipotle Grill not long ago, and I noticed that on the menu board, they listed the caloric intake of their food. So that is the good news. Here's what I don't like about this law, and here's what's manipulative. But let me just read in a nutshell what the law is. So I found an article on at U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA. It's called FDA. The website is fda.gov. So this is where it's coming from. So menu labeling requirements at a glance. In a nutshell, Americans eat and drink about 1/3 of our calories away from home. It's a lot. Making caloric calorie information available on chain restaurant menus will help consumers make informed choices for themselves and their families. As required by the statute, FDA's final rule for nutrition labeling in chain restaurants and similar retail food establishments will provide consumers with clear and consistent nutritional information in a direct and accessible manner for the foods they eat and buy for their families. Okay, let's see how consistent and clear these are. Posting calories on menus and menu boards, providing other nutritional information in writing in chain restaurants and similar retail food establishments will fill a critical information gap and help consumers make informed and healthful dietary choices. Covered establishments will list caloric or calorie information for standard menu items on menus and menu boards, and a succinct statement about suggested caloric intake. So it means they're going to say, well, you should be taking 2,200 calories in a day, and this is 800 calories, and kind of compare it to the overall. Other nutritional information: total calories, calories from fat, total fat, saturated fat, trans fat, cholesterol, sodium, total carbohydrates, fiber, sugars, and protein will have to be made available in writing upon request. So those are the things you can actually go to the restaurant and say, okay, I want to know the macronutrient breakdown, meaning fat, carbohydrates, and protein, and they're supposed to be able to give you that upon request. In addition, covered establishments will also be required to post statements on menus and menu boards about the availability of additional written information, which means you should be able to ask for it and you can receive. To be covered, an establishment must be a restaurant or similar retail food establishment, as defined in the final rule. In addition, such establishments must be part of a chain of 20 or more locations, doing business under the same name, offering a sale substantially the same menu items. So examples of restaurant type foods that are covered when sold by a facility that's part of a chain with 20 or more locations include meals from sit-down restaurants, foods purchased through drive-through windows, takeout foods such as pizza, foods such as made-to-order sandwiches, foods you serve yourself from a salad bar or hot food bar. So I like to go to Whole Foods, so I'm assuming I like the Whole Foods buffet, the salad bar there. I love that when I'm traveling and I just want a quick bite and I want to know that, hey, I just want to get a scoop of quinoa, I want some cucumbers, I want some greens, I want whatever, I want just plain rice. I really love that. Now, Whole Foods, what they do is they list all the ingredients, which I'm going to get back to that. Popcorn purchased at movie theaters or amusement parks, a scoop of ice cream, milkshake, or sundae from an ice cream store, hot dogs, or frozen drinks prepared on site in a convenience or warehouse store, and certain alcoholic beverages. So this is great. A lot of people are saying, this is what we're waiting for, Marcus. We need to know what we're eating. And I say, yes, that is, but here's the downfall to this. Here's the major downfall to this new menu labeling law that's coming out. And a lot of restaurants, I mean, whenever I go, I always ask, what is in the food? I could care less about calories. I could care less about fat. I could care less about protein. I can care less about carbohydrates. I'm an educated eater, so I know typically what goes on in restaurants and what to totally avoid. But here's what I really want to know. Now that information, the macronutrient information for most consumers might be valuable, but here's the problem I have. I want to know the actual ingredients that are in my food, right? Because if you look at a Diet Coke and you look at the macronutrient breakdown and the caloric breakdown, a Diet Coke is like, wow, there's no calories in here. Diet Pepsi, there's no calories, okay? But that's so misleading because it's loaded with crap. It's loaded with chemicals, junk, preservatives. So the food industry can manipulate. They can manipulate the total caloric breakdown, the total calories of a dish, and how it's broken down by fat and protein and stuff, because they can just add chemicals and crap and fillers to your food. So that's where this is really lacking. Okay, so by law you can ask and you can see, well, here's the macronutrient breakdown of my foods. Here's the fat, the protein, the carbs, the sodium, right? But I want to know every exact ingredient that's going into my food. I want to know if there's something funky in there. I want to know if there's trans fats. I want to know if there's white sugar. I want to know if there's white flour. I want to know if there's chemicals. I want to know if there's chemical sweeteners. I want to know all that stuff, because for me, it's more about choosing real food as opposed to looking and say, oh, well, I'm in the calorie limit. If you've watched any of my videos, I don't do caloric rations. I don't count my calories. I count my real food, and I keep my macronutrients to a very certain level. I keep a very high carbohydrate diet, low fat, low protein. I do splurge from time to time, and I have coconut and I have other things. I never have French fries, because French fries are a disaster, a total disaster. They're fried potatoes. You take a potato that has 100 calories and you fry it, you exponentially increase the calories by 8 or something. It's just something astronomical like that. It's just, so I want to know what junk, what chems, what other things they're putting into my food, what fillers they're putting into my food. That to me is the most important thing. Okay, calories aren't. I want to know that, there's no aspartame, there's no saccharin or whatever, there's no, Splenda, there's no, mold inhibitors and all these other things. The reason why they're putting stuff like mold inhibitors in your food is because they want a longer shelf life. Okay, you look at a Twinkie, you look at the breakdown. Yeah, it's high in fat, but you look at all the other chemicals in these candy bars, these Twinkies, these junk foods. It's astronomical, the list of ingredients. That's what I want to see. That's what's important to me, because then I can say, well, I'm going to buy a food that's real. I'm going to buy a food that's fake. I'm not going to buy a food that's fake. Okay, give me the ingredients. Show me what is in the actual food. That's the most important thing to me. And I can say this 20 times because this is so important. I can't say this enough, and I always tell people, you look at like a box of cereal, you walk through these cereal aisles, wherever you are in the grocery store, you see the front of the labels, the front of the boxes, the front of the bags, the packages. That's the billboard. Okay, that's the advertising, that's the billboard for these companies. They can say anything on the front of those. They can say 100% of the vitamin C. Yeah, 100% of your vitamin C at what expense? At cancer-causing ingredients, at heart disease-causing ingredients, at artery clogging ingredients, you're going to get 100% of your vitamin C. So that's the part that doesn't make sense. And this is the part of this law that I don't like, because you're just looking at the macronutrient breakdown. I mean, not even the macronutrient. You're looking at the total overall calories. You can hide calories by serving fake food. That's how you do it. You serve these chemical sweeteners. You cut back the calories. You cut back the fat, and you add fillers. That's how you make these foods look better. So this might force restaurants in this situation that have to label their food to actually say, okay, well, instead of putting all that fat in, let's put other things in. Let's put other things that are going to make it taste good, but that aren't really real food that your body can't digest. And that's the part that we're missing out here. These restaurants, these people that are serving us food need to be held accountable. They need to have transparency in what we're eating. We need to know that I'm eating real food and this is what it's about. I can't stress enough. When people come to my restaurant, I have no problem showing them the package of food. If it's a prepared item, which we buy, of course we buy a few prepared things, but I scrutinize everything that comes into my restaurant. The latest thing that I was scrutinizing was baking powder. Most baking powders have cornstarch in them, so for me that's super important, because I have a lot of people that come to my restaurant that have a corn allergy, but most restaurants wouldn't care. So I spent, instead of $15 on a case of baking powder. I spent $55 on a case of baking powder because I care. And I want my food cleaner. And I know if I'm serving corn in my food, chances are it's coming from genetically modified corn, cheaply produced corn that's sprayed with pesticides. So for me, it's about knowing the exact ingredients. That for me is the most important thing. Show me what's in the food. Show me the ingredient list. I went to Panera Bread and they were great because they just opened up their whole menu book to me and said, here, you want to look at what's in it? And I'm looking at this stuff in Panera Bread. People think Panera Bread is so healthy. I'm looking at the stuff and yeah, the calories fit a specific guideline, right? But when you look at the actual ingredients, I was like, there's not much I can eat here. You know, even like the salad with the salad dressing had funky ingredients. And I said, I wouldn't eat this. This is something I would not eat. It seems like plain balsamic vinaigrette, when in fact, it's balsamic vinegar, oil, and a mix, a cocktail of other things that I as a normal chef or you as a normal home cook don't have access to in the store. And that's what I want to know. I want to know what else are they putting in it. I'm Chef Marcus Giuliano. Thanks for watching this. Thanks for tuning in. If you like my videos, please hit like, subscribe to my channel, and let me know your thoughts on what you're looking for when you look at food. What makes you decide to eat it or not? What makes you think that the food is healthy or not? Thanks for watching.